Hey everybody, how you doing today? Welcome to Friday, July 6, 2012's episode of The Issues. Today we're going to talk about entertainment, the year of the gun right here in Toronto, the One City Transit Plan. We're going to be talking about what's going on with teachers in Canada, and we're going to do a Canada Day recap. But starting off, I want to quickly touch on Syria. Now, this is a world issue. Let's talk about it for a second because it's been ongoing. It's been the Arab Spring or whatever you want to name it. But the truth of the matter is the UN was sent in some observers a little while ago. They are now all leaving and saying that it is too dangerous there for them to stay. And Russia is still in the position that there can be a negotiation with these factions in that country. But it seems that the truth of the matter is that peace will not be reached there unless some sort of intervention, such as what happened in Libya, happens in Syria. And the fact of the matter is that the UN peacekeepers, the UN leaders, are right now going around talking to the Syrian leadership, and the possibility of this leadership being allowed to stay on after the atrocities that have been committed in their country is absolutely ridiculous. And it's a straight spit in the United Nations' face that this is allowed to persist. Now, I don't understand how countries like Russia are allowing this to continue and not suffering any kind of political backlash. They are suffering minor political backlash, but the truth of the matter is for the most part, it's not even really spoken about in that sort of aspect. We don't hear much about it out of the press. It's coming out of the media maybe every other to every third day now, and the information is vague at best. So I don't know what can be done there. All I know is we've learned from our past that these mistakes should not be repeated, and yet we still manage to keep repeating them. All right, before we finish the intro to the program today, I also want to touch on the Zimmerman trial because Zimmerman is back in jail, and it turns out a judge was upset with him because of the fact that he didn't foreclose, or he wasn't forthright with the information with regards to the amount of money that his webpage collected. And moreover, if we want to continue on with sort of discussing this, is there's still a public outcry in Florida with regards to this. Now, when we finish off the world segment, I want to talk about bath salts, because there was a gentleman in Florida as well that allegedly ate a homeless person's face, and now they say that this man was on bath salts. New information from toxicology has come out and said that he was just high on marijuana. Now, I don't know if you remember the movie Reefer Madness of the 30s, but it turns out that there might be some truth to that if this is actually a true story. Now, lastly, on the world scale, I want to talk about the presidential election in the United States of America, because some interesting news came out yesterday. I don't know if it's true or not, but Mitt Romney, who's running against Barack Obama for the Republican Party for position of president, it's alleged that he had a relationship with a prostitute when he was younger, but he didn't pay the prostitute. What's alleged is that the prostitute paid him. And now this is boosting his recognition in the polls. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. I look forward to finding out in the next few weeks, few months, few whatever it takes to find out what exactly happened there. But if this is the case and his popularity is growing because he is a prostitute rather than went to a prostitute, well, let's be concerned about American politics in the future.
Hello and thanks for watching. We hope you are enjoying this week's show. If you or someone you know has something to talk about and would like to get it out, come on an episode of The Issues. Please call or email the number on the screen. Once more, thanks for tuning in this week, and we hope to see you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for staying with us. Now I want to talk to you about the One City Transit Plan. Now, a Ward 16 councillor named Karen Stintz came out with this plan, and it seems that Karen Stintz might be putting herself in a position to run against Rob Ford for mayor in 2014. Now, I want to touch quickly on the transit plan because I believe Ontario, Toronto, whatever you want to call us, the TTC, we need transit in the city. It's an overwhelming issue, and right now the plan that I believe Karen Stintz came out with, the One City, is a 30-year plan or maybe a 60-year plan. I can't remember exactly, but what I will tell you is it does start to build the infrastructure that the subway and transit system will need in the future. Now, the problem with the Stintz plan is she's calling for a 2% tax increase on everybody, whether you ride the subway, whether you ride the streetcar, whether you take your car or you ride a horse, okay, or ride a bike or whatever it is. So It's everybody, whether you use the system or not, you're going to have to pay for it. Now, some people have approached me and said the idea, well, why is Toronto responsible to carry this whole thing on their shoulders? And to be honest with you, if you live in York Region, if you live in Mississauga, if you live in Oshawa, if you live in any one of the surrounding cities that Toronto is, chances are you use the public transit system in Toronto. So should there not be some sort of coalition of these surrounding neighborhoods in order to try to reduce the overall cost to any individual and disperse it over a larger group? I believe the answer there is yes. However, this is not something that is going to be agreed upon too easily, as these people in the surrounding areas have already been against the Stint's plan. Now, quickly, what I want to touch on is the idea of a lottery again, because the one city plan could benefit from a lottery, and this is a way that people, rather than being forced to give their money to a program that maybe they don't believe in, they don't want, or they don't use, is a way for them to give money to a program and do it of their own free will and possibly gain other benefits in the long run. And the fact that the province of Ontario isn't really even willing to discuss this is a big discouragement for transit in Ontario in the future. And the fact that it's not even on the table, that the opportunity of a lottery, the possibility of prizes, or whatever it is just not even being discussed, means that transit is likely not going to change. The one good thing that we could talk about transit in a moment is 1.6 kilometers of the new Shepherd line that's going out to the west and north has been completed. Now, they're saying that it will be completed on its 2015 deadline. They're not saying the same thing about Transit City, which is 2020. That was supposed to be finished in 2020. Now they're saying it's probably going to take longer. Now, how do we solve the transit problems in Toronto? This is the one simple answer. Rather than this one line here and the one line there, or Transit City this or Transit City that, what Toronto needs is a continuous build, one united system that connects everybody and everything. And should everybody have to pay? I don't know. I'm not responsible for that decision. I believe at least we should have a referendum in the city of Toronto to see if people are willing to pay these additional taxes for a transit system that we all need.
Hello and thanks for watching. We hope you are enjoying this week's show. If you or someone you know has something to talk about and would like to get it out, come on an episode of The Issues. Please call or email the number on the screen. Once more, thanks for tuning in this week, and we hope to see you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for staying with us. Now we're going to talk about Ontario and Canada as a whole, for that matter, because teachers are a big topic, and even today, I believe it was today or yesterday, the Toronto Catholic School Board came to the table with Ontario's Queen's Park, and they have worked out a deal so there will not be a labor disruption in the Catholic School Board in the city of Toronto. This, however, is not true for the public school system in Toronto and Montreal, for that matter. And quickly, just touching on it, it seems that in British Columbia, they were going to have a labor dispute with regards to teachers as well. They were fighting over all spring about this, but they have reached an agreement there as well. So will Ontario and the teachers in Toronto reach an agreement by school in September? Chances are, the way things are looking, it's pretty promising. What's going to happen in Quebec is pretty much the bigger issue, because they have had the student strike there going on for quite some time now, and it seems that education is a big issue over there. Now, what I want to quickly finish this sort of category off is talking about the sort of movement in Montreal and the tuition fees protest. And what I wanted to say is, the bottom line, and I think I've said it before, and I'm going to say it last time, I'm going to touch on this, is our government wastes money like nobody's business, for that matter. And the fact that we can't find a way to spend money on education where we know that education is a benefit to the future. We know that education is something that is going to increase our incomes as a society as a whole. We don't want to do this. It seems that we're pushing further and further against this. Well, we're giving jobs to people that aren't doing their job, or we're giving too much money to public sector workers where that money shouldn't be going. Now, the future is something that every politician says. He's like Dalton McGuinty said he is the education premier, and kudos to him. But the truth of the matter is education in Ontario is not surpassing anywhere else in the world. We are not the best. We are not the highest. We are not the number one ranked education system in Canada, let alone the world. So what we have to start doing is we have to start being progressive. We have to start learning. We have to start figuring out other ways to get children involved in education. We have to find other ways to interest them. And as long as we keep doing the status quo, we'll continue paying our taxes and we'll continue seeing no change.
Hello and thanks for watching. We hope you are enjoying this week's show. If you or someone you know has something to talk about and would like to get it out, come on an episode of The Issues. Please call or email the number on the screen. Once more, thanks for tuning in this week, and we hope to see you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back in. Now we're going to talk about violence, gang violence, whatever you want to call it in the city of Toronto. And you might remember what happened recently in the Eaton Centre. More than two people were shot, but 2 people were killed with regards to a gang altercation down there. And it wasn't actually a gang altercation. It was just an altercation between 2 of the same gang members. So is that a gang altercation? I would say yes, because both members are gang members. It's just they don't want to make you think it is because they were from the same gang. So now let's move on and let's see what happened in Little Italy during the soccer matches between the Euro 2012. And a man was in a gelato shop and he got shot in the back of the head, I believe is the scenario it was a hit. It was a gang hit. So here we go, is gang violence again. The difference between the Eaton Centre and Little Italy is Little Italy was looked at this one little incident, a guy was shot in the back of the head. There was no discussion about gang violence. And that's a big issue because it doesn't matter if you're from a street gang or an organized crime gang. A gang is a gang and gang violence is violent. Now, crime in Toronto has been up. As of a month ago, it was up about 50% versus the previous year. Now, every day that I wake up and I throw on the news or I listen to the news or I read the news, what I'm hearing is there's been a murder, a stabbing. Some guy walked into a coffee time with a stab wound asking the clerk at coffee time to call 911 for him. So when our officials are trying to tell you that there is a no violence problem in the city of Toronto, it's probably them saying under their breath, well, as long as you're aware. Because the truth of the matter is if this many criminals have guns. Like even as I'm recording this, so yesterday at Yonge and Sheppard, an officer was assaulted, is alleged. This is what I heard over the radio. An officer was assaulted. His arm was hurt, and 2 youths or young adults are now roaming the streets at Yonge and Sheppard with a firearm. Now, what's going to be done about those people? Are they going to get away? Are they going to walk? Who knows? Are they going to find the gun? Who knows? Is the gun going to get into the hands of a younger person who doesn't even realize it's a gun and may think it's a toy? Who knows? But the truth of the matter is right now they're focusing on things like the long gun registry. They're focusing on things like people who get legal firearms. You're the ones that are going to be held accountable. But the truth of the matter is people that commit crimes don't acquire their firearms legally. So maybe if a firearm was stolen from a legal user and he didn't store it properly and that's why it was stolen, maybe that's a reason to charge him with accessory after the fact. But to continue to hold people that do things legally accountable when you're holding people that don't do things legally unaccountable is a big problem. And even more so, or moreover, or more importantly, is when you catch one of these guys with a criminal gun or with a gun and he's committed a criminal act, whether it be murder or just threatening or intimidation or so on, I think it's very important that the JPs that deal with the bail for these guys realize, or there's a new policy in the province of Ontario, period, that if you are caught with a crime regarding a firearm, your bail is void. Okay? You are not entitled to bail. And I don't care if you think that's unfair, but if you're caught with a gun in hand, there's prints from you on the gun. Should we really allow these people back on the streets where they're going to go and acquire another illegal firearm and endanger you, your children, and anybody else out there? And lastly, God forbidding these people get in a position where they can hold one over on a politician and influence public policy. This is not the way our society was built. And it's very important that we remember that when we put our people on Toronto Police Service Board and so on, that these people know that this is what we want. And even more so that elected officials, when they appoint politicians or they appoint JPs or they appoint bureaucrats, that they know that this is a zero tolerance issue. Screw speeding, zero tolerance. Gun crime, zero tolerance.
Hello and thanks for watching. We hope you are enjoying this week's show. If you or someone you know has something to talk about and would like to get it out, come on an episode of The Issues. Please call or email the number on the screen. Once more, thanks for tuning in this week, and we hope to see you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of The Issues. I quickly want to talk about the Gay Pride Parade or the Pride 2012 or whatever you want to call it. I have a gay friend, one, so I don't believe myself to be homophobic, but I just want to quickly touch on this because a lot of gripe has gone to Rob Ford regarding him not attending the flag raising or him not attending this or him not attending that regarding gay pride. And I just want to say that he's the mayor of Toronto. Should he be at least one event? He went to the gay awareness event a few weeks back, and for that we were all appreciative, and we thought that would have been a change of his policy with regards to this. He didn't go to the flag raising this year, and he really didn't have much to do with he had nothing to do with the Pride events. Now, some people are still up in arms about it. A lot of people have just been like, whatever, it is what it is, and we still get to have our event, so what do we really care? But what I want to talk about is Canada Day, the 120th anniversary of our country's coming to fruition, let's call it. And I would like to say that Stephen Harper was, in Ottawa. He was doing an event on television. A few artists came by. They did some War of 2012 reenactments, if you want to call them that. That would be a very generous statement. But at Queen's Park, Toronto, they had... it seemed Latin dance. I heard there were a couple performances there, but predominantly the entertainment there was towards kids. They had a lot of inflatable games and stuff like that for you and your family to go and enjoy yourself on the long weekend. Now let's talk about City Hall, where Rob Ford is the mayor, and it is a Toronto city, in fact, the biggest city in Canada. It is a Canadian city and one of the biggest in Canada, and the highest populated for that matter. And a lot of Canadians do reside in Toronto, whether you believe it or not. Now, the Jazz Festival was here this weekend, and that pretty much overshadowed events for Canada Day with regards to City Hall. If you went down to City Hall this weekend, you would have noticed that the Jazz Festival was pretty much there, and there were some great performances from, I believe, from a Salvatore. I just wanted to say I only heard the dress rehearsal, but she sounded great, and she was doing swing, and it was fabulous. And if you didn't get a chance to check it out this year, I hope you go down next year. But I actually think more important than Rob Ford showing up for Gay Pride, he should have been there for Canada Day, and he should always be there for Canada. It's a national holiday, and it's something that he should go out there and he should have a little speech saying, this is our country. I want to wish our country a happy birthday, and, here's a performance, happy birthday, so on. But he was up at his cottage, and that's something that a private citizen should do for Canada Day. But an elected official who's supposed to represent the people of Toronto, who are predominantly Canadian, should have probably been here for Canada Day, announcing the functions and setting it off. And the fact that he wasn't makes me question of whether or not, he's really the mayor of Toronto or he's just looking out for his own personal interests.
Hello and thanks for watching. We hope you are enjoying this week's show. If you or someone you know has something to talk about and would like to get it out, come on an episode of The Issues. Please call or email the number on the screen. Once more, thanks for tuning in this week, and we hope to see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it is time for part 2 of the bag tax rant. Now, it seems that City Council got rid of this bag tax, okay? They said, hey, it's unfair. The money, the 5 cents per bag is going to the store owners. We don't know what that money is being done with. Forget it. It's over. So this went into motion and it was passed. But at the same point in time, another councillor put in a motion saying, let's just ban plastic bags altogether. And it seems that as of January 1st, 2013, that's actually going to happen. As of July 1st, 2012, the bag tax was abolished. It doesn't exist in Toronto anymore. So if you go to a store and they try to charge you 5 cents for a bag, you could just say, no, I'm not paying it, or you can pay it, or you can report them somewhere, I don't know where, because I'm pretty sure it's not a criminal offense. But more importantly, what I want to just sort of focus on here is the abolishment of plastic bags altogether, and why this is the stupidest thing that City of Toronto councillors could have done. And the reason focuses on this. When we put this 5 cents bag tax in place back in the day, we banned biodegradable bags. Okay, biodegradable bags break down in a much lesser time in a landfill than the plastic bags. But we said, hey, we're going to do plastic bags and not biodegradable bags, blah, 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 because we're idiots. Now, rather than unbanning the biodegradable bag so you have an opportunity to carry your goods home from the grocery store or wherever you may have bought them, we have decided to say, hey, all plastic bags are banned. No, wait, that's not true, because you can go to the store and buy Glad garbage bags, which are made out of plastic, but they're not banned in Toronto. Maybe all grocery stores will have to stop selling them. I don't know. But we'll also talk about quickly water bottles, which are made out of plastic, or the cell phone case you bought, or just about anything in the city of Toronto that's made with plastic. Is this all going to be banned? Is plastic no longer allowed? I don't know. These people have no idea what they're doing there. They're just putting things into motion without actually researching or doing any discussion or having a discussion on it. And this is your tax dollars. This is your future. This is everything that has to do with you. And you might say, oh, it's 5 cents for a bag. But if they're doing this about such minute things, what about something serious? What about something that has to do with you or your children or your grandparent or your father? This is not a one-off issue where they didn't have a legitimate discussion. This is a overwhelming history of what happens in council at the City of Toronto before they do anything. They do nothing. They don't conduct an investigation. They don't do research and development to see what the overall effect will be. What will be the future outcome of this? And what this has as an effect on you is a negative one. So we're 2 years away from an election. Okay? And it's hard to find out who sits on this board or who does that, because I called 311 yesterday to find out who's sitting on the Toronto Police Service Board, and they told me 2 councillors. And I'm going to touch on that in later on. But what I wanted to say is that when these people vote on these things without doing any research, it shows how ignorant they are. And what that is a reflection of how ignorant you are. So next time you vote, make sure you do your research. Make sure you develop who you want to be your representative. Because if you don't, be sure neither will they.